Hello, welcome back to another video. It's your boy Crazed. Haven't been on this channel for over a year, so I decided I'm going to get back into the tutorials and I'm going to create a tutorial for you. And this one is going to be a scissor cut, mainly because there's a lot of fade videos out there already, and I'm going to get into fade videos later on, and just because this is what my client wanted this day. He did not want to fade. He usually gets them sometimes, but this one is going to be a scissor cut, slick back, messy look type haircut. So I'm starting off by combing all of the hair backwards, making sure all of the hair is wet, not soaking wet, but wet so that you can control the hair easily. That line that I just pointed out there is the line that I'm going to part. So I've got my shape of which I can do my scissor cut. So I kind of drop it off towards the back because his hair is going to be slicked back. So I'm going to be blending the top of the hair into the back of the hair. So I'm pinning it up, or just so I can easily see the separation of where the hair should be. Now, using my comb, I'm going to pinch a bit of the hair and I'm going to make a straight up and down motion. Excuse me. And I'm just going to cut the hair in a straight up and down motion, trimming off as much hair that pops out, and then I'm moving back a section, and I'm looking where my old cut was, and I'm cutting there again. And that's just to ensure that you're taking off the same amount throughout the whole process of working your way down the sides of the haircut. So I'm brushing it down again, and I'm using this little technique here, which is putting the scissors in and lifting, and then putting your comb in and then using your scissors to cut it again. This is a really good technique you can use on the fly, but you have to be really careful you don't stab your client's head with the point of the scissors. This technique, once you get it and you understand it, you can use it a lot, and it's going to help you speed up your haircuts, because you can, especially if you have long scissors like I do. If you have short scissors, you can still do this. You've probably got more control and precision over the haircut if the scissors are small. But here I'm just going back and I'm just making sure that I've got all of the hair, and he didn't want the hair over his ear, so I'm kind of tidying it up slightly, just so it's not too high over his ear, but it's kind of just sitting above his ear. And this is just scissor over comb, another technique. And I'm combing the hair back into position just to see what it looks like when it's going to be slicked back in its position. Now I'm going upwards and just cutting off some more hair there. The edges of the haircut, he wanted natural looking, he didn't want it too sharp, so I ended up just using my scissors to tidy up the sides there. And as you can see towards the back of the head, I'm gonna continue the part section around the back of his head, because if the hair was from the top was just on top, then you wouldn't be able to get underneath that hair and really get the trim that you wanted. I like sectioning it like this because it makes it a lot easier, and you can focus on one part of the haircut instead of the whole haircut, and you bring it all together at the end. So I'm just using that same technique, using my comb and my scissors to lift the hair up, and I'm just taking bits off at a time. You don't want to take too much off, right? He's just getting a scissor cut, it's just a trim. Obviously the more that sticks out of the comb, the more you're going to cut off. So you can always take more off, but you can't put it back on. So just work with your client, work your way down in length. So now I'm going to repeat the same process, wet the sides of the hair, and I'm going to get my next parting section with the comb, and I'm going to clip it up and repeat the process on this side. So as you can see, I'm starting with the corner of the hair, and I'm just using the edge of my comb to draw the line, and then using the rest of the comb to flick it down, and it's a good way to get that separation. This one took a little bit more than the other side, but I eventually got there. And sides of the hair will look slightly different because everyone's head shape's not perfect. They're going to have different sides. So this side is a bit trickier because you have to work from the back, because you're going to keep the same cutting fingers and all of that. So to get the same motion, you have to cut from backwards to forwards. And well, this is how I do it. You don't have to do it this way. You can learn to hold the scissors in the other hand and the comb in the other hand if you're that fussy. But I find that the haircut works fine even if you just use it from going backwards, because you've got this technique here. You can lift the scissors and cut hair off accordingly, which is very helpful. It pays to get this technique down pat. So now I'm just brushing it down again, and I'm seeing where the hairs sit, taking off the hair overhang around his ear. Be careful you don't nick his ear, right? You have to be real careful. I'm just taking the back of the hair. I just lined it up with the scissors there, just so it's a natural line up look. And when the haircut comes together, you'll see what I mean. So now that's the sides pretty much done. I will make a bit more touch up. What you want to do now is just slick it all back into position, how his haircut is going to sit naturally, and you're going to just see where you're at with the haircut. The sides are starting to come along. See, I've got my headlamp there just so I can see a bit better. It can get dark in different angles of this room that I'm cutting in. It's just my cabin. Turned it into a bit of a cutting studio. So now I'm showing you the section that you're going to cut. So you're going to cut across horizontally, and then you're going to come across vertically. Or you're going to come across, the other way, just to cross section it. So I'm taking my front section and then I'm combing it forward. And this is the first section of hair I'm going to cut. So I'm putting, as you can see, my fingers, and then I'm using it to cut. And I'm going right across the fringe. Always going right across the fringe first, because it gives you your guideline, and it's a good place to ask the client how much he wants off. Because you can hold it up and ask him, how much do you want off? Use your fingers to determine how much length is going to come off. He can say, yeah, about there. And then you have a good estimate of where the client wants his haircut. Just readjusting the angle so you can see what I mean when I cut the front first. So as I said, lift it up, get a straight cut. Because the angle of the head goes downwards, I'm coming downwards on that side, because you're cutting straight from the head. So I'm grabbing the fringe and I'm connecting it over. Now what I'm doing is I've got to his hair's quite long, so I'm doing it like this. You can see there, that's where the hair was in front of that section, and you just use it as a guide to cut backwards. Now these are real big sections to grab, because I wanted it to come out real chunky, the look of it. So again, I'm going to the middle now. First time I went down the right side, now I'm going down the middle and going right down to the back. Now I'm coming on this side again, fringe. Now I'm taking a section back, using the last cut as a guideline. So you pretty much do the side, the middle, and you do the other side. And then comb it all back. You can see some weight. I've seen some weight there, as you can see. So I'm just taking some of the bulk off there with the scissors. I'm using the comb to comb through and let a small amount of hair come out, so I can cut the rest off, just to take some length off there, which is basically the separation between the sides and the back. That's why it's heavy like that. Now it's my job to make it seamless so that it just kind of blends into the back. So now, as I said before, you're going to go horizontally, and then you're going to go the other way as well. This is called cross-checking your work. It's easy for it to be thing one way, but then the other way it's got to be straight as well. Now I'm just going through and using my thinning shears just to take off some of the bulk of the hair as well, so it sits backwards a lot more nicely. I'm just using the comb to pull the hair up, and I'm just cutting the tips of the hair. You don't want to go too deep, because then that means you're cutting some hair short, and you want it to be seamlessly different in lengths. And when you're just using the tips of the hair, you're giving it a nicer look. And I just want to go through and give the whole hair even chop and even thin. So on the other side, I'm just going to repeat the process using my comb and my thinning shears to take off some of the bulk out of the hair and give those tips a bit more of a natural look instead of cut straight across. So you can just use the comb to comb out the hair that you're taking out. Use a blow dryer as well. But remember, just use the tips, just thin the tips. You don't need to go down too deep on the hair. So as you can see now, I'm using a blow dryer to get rid of the hair that I've cut, because some of it can get stuck in the hair. So now the haircut's coming along quite nicely. Getting all those split ends off. As I said, my client, he didn't want too much off of his head. He just wanted a nice tidy up and a nice scissor cut. And this is exactly the tutorial for that. So now I'm just coming through with the cross check, and I'm seeing any hairs I may have missed. Checking any hairs I may have missed. I don't want to go too deep, because then all of that thinning work would have been all for nothing. The purpose of the thin was just to take the hard edge off the end of the hair from when you're cutting it straight across. Now I'm onto my clippers. I'm using my Wall Magics to just line them up, and I'm going around the ears now. Gave them a nice square finish, like a classic look. Going around the ears, making sure it's nice and tidy. He does use product, so when I apply the product, it's going to be a lot cleaner. I'm just going through and I'm just cleaning up the edges a bit more. Don't want it to be too harsh of a line, but I want it to be nice and tidy and clean around the edges. As I come around to the back, he didn't want it completely short at the back, so I just gave him a nice light clean up with the clippers around the back edge of his head. So first I tried to use the open guard so it didn't take off as much, but it wasn't really taking off any, so I closed it down a bit more. Still wasn't taking off as much, so I ended up just closing it right down. I could have made that edge a lot sharper, but because of the client's request, he wanted it a little more natural looking instead of so sharp and hard edged. I'm going to repeat the process on this side, combing the hair back into position and just tidying up the edges. Going to give that nice square look again. I noticed there was a bit more hair on the sideburn on this side, so I just tidied that up. Now I'm going around the ears, making sure I'm careful not to nick any part of his ear, combing it down, getting around the ear, making sure that it sits nicely when the hair's going to be dry. Alright, we're getting closer to the finishing product of this haircut. A nice natural scissor cut, slick back, messy type look. Now I'm just blow drying the hair, making sure I get rid of any hair that might be stuck in his hair, any cut hair that might be stuck. And it's also drying the hair out, which is getting it ready for some product. I'm going to put some product in and show you how to style this. So you want to put the product in your hair, in your hands, sorry, and smush it around a little bit, get it activated. Put the product in the hair, apply it through evenly, and make sure it's all rubbed in so you don't see any like white stuff or any product is standing out. So as you can see, that texture is starting to come out a lot more, and the messy look is starting to form. And when you add product to textured hair, whether that be point cutting or thinning the scissors, that when you add product, it always adds a bit of a texture to the hair, as you can see. So this is the cut, a nice basic classic scissor cut. Thank you for watching. It's your boy Crazed. If you like this, please subscribe and follow my channel to support. Follow me on Instagram at Crazed, KRZ3D, and also you can follow me on Facebook at Crazed, Twitter Crazed, and thank you for supporting. See ya.